Disclaimer. Please do not harass, target, bully, dox, or attack any of the individuals featured, shown, or discussed in this video. This is merely a commentary by the author of the channel on recent events which should be taken with reasonable doubt. This video will now continue. Hey, what's going on, kid? You new to VR chat?
I guess?
Oh yeah? Sounds like you could use somebody to look up to, somebody to spend time with, somebody to really show you the ropes. And hey, luckily for you, I'm available.
Who the fuck are you?
You serious? I'm Tujo, the TujoPanda, Twitch streamer, VTuber extraordinaire. I mean, come on, everyone's been talking about me.
Still never heard of you.
Well, hey, there's always a first time for everything, right? Name's TujoPanda. Put her there, pal.
Okay.
You know I'm one of the most popular poppy furs around on VR, right?
Wow, poppy fur! I want some clout!
Well, hold on there, sport. Not just anybody can hang out with the Tuj. You gotta pay big bucks for the privilege. I mean, come on, man. I got a Patreon, Coffee, GoFundMe, PayPal.
What are the rates?
Well, hey, $5 gets you to my Discord server. You can interact with all of my other fans, including yours truly. Or you can bump yourself up to $25 and join my Minecraft server. Maybe even play some Among Us sometime. And then if you're a real high roller, you can bump yourself up to $100 and you can get guaranteed 2 Discord messages with yours truly. And if you pay like $250, I'll hang out with you in VR chat for 20 minutes. You know, all it is just a little bit of money, pal. You gotta pay for the privilege. So what do you say? You in? You ready to join the panda party?
But aren't I talking to you right now?
You know what? That's right. You should honestly be paying me right now for taking the time out of my busy schedule to spend it with you. I mean, there's people lining up out the door that are willing to pay big bucks just to, spend the afternoon with me. So, maybe a small cash donation of $50, I can let this slide. You can let this all be a past memory. And you can go ahead and join my Discord server and we can see where things go from there. So what do you say?
You know what? Take my money.
Aw, hell yeah! Hey! That's my fucking money. You put that shit back.
You fucking believe this guy? This asshole? Well, I mean, get the fuck over yourself.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? TujoPanda back in action to talk about something else today. But by something else, I want to direct your attention to me. Because right now, I'm really the only thing that matters. You come here for me. You want to hear me talk about various topics of interest. You want to hear my 2 cents on the matter. You want to hear all this stuff. You're spending time with me. And that's taking busy time out of my busy schedule, So you're going to have to pay for the privilege from now on. I'm expecting Patreon donations. I'm expecting some coffee. In fact, why don't you just bring that coffee to my house? You know what? Hit up Starbucks along the way, bring that coffee over here, I'll drink it, and you can have the self-satisfaction that you helped me out. And for that, I'll spend some time with you. Now, it's going to run you like $50 here and there, Because what better friendship can you possibly have if you buy it? So, a private instance like this, we can go ahead and spend time doing stuff. But it's going to run you, $100, maybe even $250, depends on the day. I'm a busy guy, you gotta understand. So I got a lot of shit going on. And at the same time, you gotta prove to me that you're worth my time. But if you do, I see that receipt, $250 in my Patreon, I will take some time out of my busy schedule to allocate for you so we can talk about whatever happens to be on your mind. Or we can, do a little bit more on the side. a little bit more of an intimate sort of slant to things. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, I got a lot of people lining up on my door that want to hang out with me, spend time with the Tuj. So if you want to do that, you better get in line. You better join the Discord. By the way, the focus has to be on me at all fucking times, okay? I don't want to hear any shit about you trying to do your own Twitch stream and stuff. I don't want to hear about your YouTube channel. It's all about me. And if you don't buy for that, well, I'm going to have to server ban you, man. I don't make the rules around here. Oh, wait, I do, because it's all about me. And if you subscribe to that, then you are fucking brainwashed as fuck right now, okay? Because, obviously, I wasn't being serious, but, like, that's basically the tone upon the topic of interest that we're going to be talking about here today when I first found out about it. And, you know, if you're not entirely sure what I'm talking about, if what I was doing just now doesn't click in your mind, there's a guy out there that I first heard about a couple days ago. Now, obviously, my computer was a little bit down for the count. I had to revive it by the grace of God, and now we're here. But, yeah, I was browsing through Twitter one day, and my friend was complaining about this random dude that had blocked him. Now, my friend had had no interactions with this individual up to this point, you know? And it was heavily implied that this guy was a VRChat user. And obviously, me being a VRChat enthusiast, struck me a little bit astray. Granted, the population here, the user count, has increased dramatically over, you know, the span of the years. But what I'd like to just point out is that he had a Twitter presence, and he was just randomly blocking people on Twitter. I guess it was that exclusivity factor, because who I'm referring to is GaroShadowscale. GaroShadowscale is a YouTuber, or a VTuber if you prefer. And they didn't really attract a whole lot of attention until after a series of scandals sort of broke light. Let me explain. So, GaroShadowscale, he's a dragon. He's had a prominent fixture here on VRChat for a bit. He's got a gaming channel on Twitch. He's got a YouTube channel. And he's also got a Discord server. Now, bear in mind, the Discord server has some very interesting rules. Basically, he wants to be the center of attention at all times. As in, there can be, like, no other fan art unless it involves his character. There could be no mention or activity as far as Twitch streaming or YouTube or content creation of any sort unless it's, you know, somehow relating him. And if you defy these rules, then you're out of there. You know, you just get banned. And it's strange because furries have this innate desire to be the center of attention. They will do fairly ridiculous things to get attention from other people. They will go above and beyond to try to spend time with particular people that strike their fancy and passing fancy, you know? Like, they will try to go out of their way to get attention from others. I mean, hell, like, while I'm on the subject, why don't I just bring the bukkake cum pizza fetish guy, like, into the mix? Because just a couple days ago, like, you know, not a couple days ago, after BLFC had happened and was done and gone, like, the effect after the fact is still ongoing. You know, people are still talking about it. Granted, it's the butt of the joke, but, like, they did that for the clout, alright? Like, plain and simple. So furries are fairly willing to do pretty egregious things to get E-Clout, alright? Granted, that's not really a furry problem, that's more like today's generation problem in an age of social media and YouTube and Twitter. But anyway, wheeling it back to GaroShadowscale, they have established a Discord, and in order to get into said Discord, you have to pay the nominal fee of $5 as a Patreon tier. That is the bare bones basic of the Patreon tier. We'll get into the Patreon tier here in a sec, but I just want to give you an overall synopsis of what to expect. From there, it really gets egregious in the $100 to $250 range. No, wait, sorry. $250 to $500 range. My bad. Those were the two tiers that caught people astray the most, because one of the benefits was, like, getting a chance to actually speak to, like, Garo privately in, like, a VRChat instance like this. I get to do that with friends, like mutual friends, for free. So the idea of paying for it is kind of weird. But then again, like, this is a very, like, vain and petty man that has somehow convinced people that he's somebody of renown. He has a decent-looking avatar. Granted, I've seen much better here on VR Chat, but hey, fair enough, whatever. No judgments from me. But at the same time, his, like, demeanor, this sort of, like... My mental image of him right now is as a beneficent dictator. Because that's how he runs his Discord. It's always with, like, sort of the presentation of being polite as far as his interactions with his fans, because all of the people in the Discord have to be dedicated and loyal to Garo, alright? Any dissent is met swiftly with the banhammer, And I'm talking about, like, just expressing your own opinions about something, which is crazy, because it leads me to believe that a lot of the people in their Discord are, could possibly be minors, or people that are not as mature as, say, you or I, and they don't know any better. They seem to be suffering from a mass psychosis insofar as, like, having Stockholm Syndrome. They are stuck there for the long haul until they get weeded out because they wanted to start their own YouTube channel or their own Twitch stream. And, Garo has to have all of the attention centered on them. It's all about them. They need to be the center of attention. They need to have all of that E-Clout, all of that respect, all of that, desire from other people to spend time with them. To the point that they're basically telling people, hey, don't even think about starting your own channel. Don't even think about gaming without me. I'm the only one here that matters. You are here for me. And it's like, I have never seen such a scammy, like, structured business model. Because that's pretty much what Garo's running at this point. He doesn't see his fans as friends, alright? The concept of having somebody as, like, a Steam friend or, like, a VR chat friend. Friend denotes that you're of like mind, that you have a desire to hang out with the other person, that you're for the other and you have their back, Garo just sees this as a money-making opportunity. He sees a lot of desperate people that don't have somebody in their lives, possibly, that they can spend time with and have a sense of respect and regard for them. So he has decided to fill that need, but with the promise of money in exchange. He needs money. It's all about that money, baby! It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the mutual desire to spend time with you. There has to be some sort of return on his investment as far as time goes, which is pretty egregious. They're deeply narcissistic, but the fact that they are, in some of their communications that have leaked on Discord, from Discord onto Twitter, they seem deeply insecure. Like, they need all of that attention focused on them. They need everything to be about them at all times. And then the moment that it's not, they will lash out. And they went into full damage control, it seems like, because they were just blocking random people left and right on, Twitter. Like I said, maybe it's to harpen that exclusivity factor. That people... See, here's the problem with that, like, sort of train of thought. That logic has some problems with it, because, mostly if I noticed somebody had blocked me, and I had no idea what reason or purpose they did so, I'd just be confused. I'd have no idea what happened. Like, I have never met this person, I have never interacted with them, I have no context to compare my mode of character to theirs. And it's like, it reminds me strongly of an user that used to be here on VR Chat. They possibly still are, I have no idea. But at the same time, I don't really care. But what I do remember is my brief interactions with them years ago, right before they destroyed one of my friend groups that was on VR Chat, my first friend group, named Ashy Paws. And, like, this whole sort of situation, the Discord setup, the fucking, very autocratic mentality in regards to their fans. Like, that just seems like Ashy Paws' wet dream. Ashy Paws was an individual that I had, several run-ins with. They had a very unique way of interacting with other people, to the point that they were constantly being fucked with by the Best Boy community, who didn't really appreciate Ashy Paws fucking with them in the first place. And briefly, I actually thought the Best Boy community was at fault. But no. See, what AshyPaws would do is he would pick a fight, and what would happen is, as soon as the other party, whoever he was fucking with, fought back, then they would drop everything and just be like, oh, I'm the victim, oh, I didn't ask for any of this. And it's like, smacking the hornet's nest and being surprised that the hornets aren't exactly happy that you did that. Anyway, this seems like his wet dream, because, what AshyPaws would do is he would, constantly come up with a sob story, try to bilk money out of people, and they would feign suicide 6 to 7 times. And my theory was that they were actually a cat in real life, alright? They got 9 lives, so they figure, hey, might as well use some of these lives to try to get some money out of people. And it was always like, hey, my internet access is going to get cut off, or hey, I need money for my rent, and stuff like that. There would always be some sort of sob story, and there were enough people out there that were willing to throw all caution to the wind and provide AshyPaws money. The difference here is there is no sob story, so I guess I can respect Garo just a little bit more than I can AshyPaws. There's no lies, at least, as far as the Patreon goes. That's pretty much, self-explanatory. You give him money, he'll give you time, access to him. That's the only way that this works. And then you get to be part of his little fan club in the server. Problem is, the fan club strikes me a lot like a cult. A lot of people on Twitter were comparing this to a cult. And it wasn't really until my friend had pointed out that I just got blocked for no reason that other people sort of started looking into this GaroShadowscale guy. That's not his actual name, by the way. It sounds catchy enough. I'm just going to name him GaroShadowscale for the rest of this video, maybe, instead of GaroShadowscales. But yeah, as a dragon, it really hones home that dragons care only for money and sex. But mostly the money. He's building that hoard, man. He needs that fucking pile of money to, get up on top of and, have his hoard that he can just sit on. That's what fucking dragons want. They need that, man. Who are we to judge him for his, fulfilling his need to be a true dragon? Anyway, as far as Garo himself, what I'm aware of is I've seen his face. I've seen that he's a Texan, and people were very quick to point out that what he's doing is technically illegal, because by Texas law, you're not supposed to be getting money for what he's doing, just spending time with people, unless you're a bona fide prostitute or doing something very unique. For him, he's just getting money. It's really comes down to the rights and privileges of the people that go to him to pay him money for the privilege of just getting a chance to talk to him, which is crazy. He acts if you look at his Patreon tiers, he acts like a hug is something that's very desirable, which I suppose it is, but I'm just bitch, I get those for free every day here on BR Chat, from people that I actually like and know and appreciate. As far as you go, you're just a glorified AshyPaws that's trying to pass off the, the idea to people that you're somehow a popufer, an artificial popufer. Here's my mental definition of a popufer. I understand that the popufer label is not exactly desirable, but granted, if you gain a seat of popularity, that's largely because you're either doing something or you have enough of a personality to convince people that you're somebody of renown and people end up liking you. That is an organic process. You kind of have to build that organically. You can't just, buy friendship. Well, in this case, it's like a reverse buy of friendship because people are paying him money to be friends with him. So that's one thing that bothered me about AshyPaws. They were obsessed with E-Clout. They wanted to be a popufer. They would try to hummus with other popufers and try to convince them they were somebody that was respectful and, somebody that was noteworthy enough that you would want to associate with them. That's basically what Zosh is doing, except he did that by setting up this little model, built a couple of people, and managed to get to the top, so to say. Granted, the fact that they only had, by my last recollection, a couple thousand subscribers on Twitter, and I think they have 39,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is fairly respectful. It's nowhere near as much as Majira Strawberry or other people, but, comparable to a mid-level Popular. The one thing that I want to point out is that people were alleging, and granted, here's the thing, I'm saying neutral on this, so I'm, take it with a grain of salt. They're alleging that even his YouTube channel might be artificially inflated through the use of bots. I don't know how factual that is, but it was pointed out that every couple days, they seem to shoot up a couple hundred subscribers. Now, bear in mind, YouTube is fairly unpredictable as far as the algorithm and everything that happens here. You never know what's going to happen, alright? The algorithm could shoot up and disseminate your content to a variety of other people, and they'll, in turn, possibly share that with other people, and it goes viral. Or, it's sits underneath a pile of other content for a while, and then suddenly becomes noticed and rediscovered later for it to disseminate and make its rounds, and people notice it, and they're like, oh, that's really cool, that's really good, I'm going to subscribe to you. Basically, there was a bit of a debate about that, because people aren't really entirely sure how authentic this guy is. And his content seemed alright for what it was. I mean, it's pretty much what you would expect from somebody of that stature, but at the same time, you gotta wonder, who is his target audience? Because I'm getting the sense that these are a bunch of tweens. These are people that like Minecraft, Fortnite, various other games that have a reputation of being appreciated more by younger audiences like Zoomers versus older audiences like people in their 20s and 30s. It begs the question, and how are they affording these egregious Patreon costs? Because just to be in the Discord alone is $5, which ain't terrible, but at the same time, there's no other benefits to that sort of tier. The only other benefit is just getting, you're contributing to a creator that you like. Tier 2 is where things get a little bit more open-ended, because you can actually game with him for $25. Granted, I can game with my friends for free, so I don't know. Anyway, I think we spent just about enough time in this world. Let's go ahead and change the scenery, and I'll offer my closing thoughts right after I share some material that I pulled right off of Twitter and his Patreon. Alright, back in a sec. So this video is going to end up being way too long if I don't start moving a little bit faster than I have been, because I started recording my last thing and it was 21 minutes. So let's go ahead and do a condensed version. I just wanted to say, let's go ahead and divert your focus to what's important. As you can see here, I have quite a little bit of material here that I've drawn from various places like Twitter, various Twitter threads, people giving their own personal accounts of their interactions with Garo, personal communications they've had with them, experiences on their Discord server. And I guess the most important thing to start off with is, who is GaroShadowscale? Obviously, you're not going to see the real GaroShadowscale. This is basically a presentation that he's offered to the rest of the world. And the best way to start with that is their Twitter profile. So as you can see here, pretty innocuous Twitter profile. Wholesome ice dragon. You'd be convinced if you had no prior context or understanding about what this guy's all about and what he's been doing, but the picture goes, it's pretty innocuous. You'd look at this and be like, oh, alright, he's a dragon and looks like a pretty derpy dragon, but for the most part, harmless. At least you'd be convinced of that. Cute as safe for work art. Yep, that checks out. Funny gaming clips. I take issue with that. I don't really think they're funny, but granted, my understanding of funny and your understanding of funny are two entirely different things. It's like how some people prefer a PewDiePie versus a Markiplier, or maybe JonTron versus Game Grumps as a whole. Twitch, YouTube, Discord partner. I have seen their Twitch, and I have seen their YouTube, so that checks out. Business inquiries. A little bit weird to put your business inquiries right at the bottom of a Twitter profile, but hey, I mean, he's very business fiscal minded, so I suppose that checks out. But what kind of business inquiries are we talking about here? Are we talking about, the prospect of collaborating with him? That you had to pay him money for the opportunity to collaborate with GaroShadowscale? Or maybe merchandising? Anyway, they're a Houston, Texas resident. I already knew that. youtube.com, GaroShadowscale. We'll take a look at that in a minute. And joined September 2016. So they've been around for, a couple years. Anyway, let's go ahead. Like, these tweets are protected. The best way to start off with, their, your understanding of them is that going to their Patreon. I take a look at their Patreon tiers in greater detail later, but for right now, let's focus about. So, disclaimer. Active streamers, YouTubers will not be able to redeem any of these rewards due to server stream rules. Aha, we'll be taking a look at those in a moment. Do you love dragons, furries, playing games with your favorite high-energy streamer? You're not high energy. My name is Garo, and I'm a Twitch, YouTube, Discord partnered streamer and YouTuber. By becoming a patron, you gain access to many multiplayer games with me, along with early access to my videos and becoming closer to me personally. The best presentation of you, not necessarily the real you. Thank you for considering. Become a patron to unlock 2 exclusive posts. And I am not paying money for that. I'm sorry. I'm willing to do a lot of things for you, dear audience, but that's one of them that, that $25, I could go to a mid-tier restaurant like Ruby Tuesdays or maybe Applebee's, maybe even Red Lobster. I certainly could go for some lobster tail. So this is their YouTube channel, GaroShadowscale. I thought they had 39,000 subscribers. They only have 35.9 thousand subscribers. Oh well, still a fairly, respectable amount of subscribers, so not going to knock them on that. It's just that there's been allegations as to whether these numbers are slightly inflated. If you're curious as to what I mean by that, people have sort of been monitoring, viewership and subscriber count, and what's weird is, plus 100 subscribers consistently day by day. And people have been saying that that's entirely algorithmic, that could be a fluke. It certainly strikes me as a bit suspicious that it's 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, negative 100. So, and this is day by day. So, is this real or are these bots? That's the allegation that people have been proposing. But, I'm not a computer guru or expert. I don't know how the YouTube algorithm works on the best of days. I know some basics, but, nothing to substantiate this. It is strange that it's fairly consistent, on the level, and no subscribers for Friday. Okay. This guy is a lucky son of a bitch, I guess. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at their server rules. These are the rules that you have to agree to in order to gain entry to the server. No active streamers, YouTubers allowed here. Do not ask about advice, resources. Do not mention your own or anyone else's stream, server, etc. directly or indirectly, whether in my server or in DMs through my server. No DMs or friend requests or gaming requests to other viewers. No RP or targeting other server members, especially with stream memes or reply tags. Keep the focus on myself and my content. Okay. No arrogance, selfishness, toxicity, drama, negativity, cursing. Stay humble, positive, respectful here. I do believe that you're breaking your number 1 rule. No arrogance, selfishness, toxicity, or drama. English only. Well, that's just xenophobic right there. No bold, italicized, underlined text. Try to use emotes instead of emoticons, like woo, no one, etc. No spam or excessive caps. Only text emotes in the voice chat. No NSFW fetish score content or links discussion of relevant websites. No OC Sona artwork discussion unless it involves fan art of or with me. Paw patron, Twitch subscriber, at YouTube member, and Nitro Booster can link upload in the subscriber media group of channels and in the daily, Discord stream. If you suspect anyone, even a mod, breaking these rules, DM me immediately. Message me, not the server, if you have questions about the rules. This is just the least bit autocratic and incredibly controlling. But at the same time, you have to agree. You have to have read and agreed to these rules in order to gain entry. Now, the argument can be made for people that were already here before the rules changed, because there's been several allegations that the rules have changed, fairly recently, it wasn't this balls to the walls nonsensical, alright? There was a time that these were fairly acceptable rules, but this is sort of a recent change because Garo, seeing a threat from his own community, wants to sort of capitalize on the opportunity of maintaining an iron grip on his viewership. He wants a captive audience, one that is going to be entirely loyal only to him, which is pretty shitty, but, again, I guess he's a very insecure, petty, and vain individual, that would be completely okay in his mind. So what I was trying to say is, the argument can be made that if these rules were different, and you previously read and agreed to the prior rules, but not these rules, then that's, a point of contention that you can certainly discuss with Garo. Granted, you're probably not going to get too far. He's probably going to, uphold that because of the rule change, you now have to reassess whether you want to be here or not. And if you don't, you get kicked out. A lot of this stuff, a lot of this material, it would just be too long for me to go over, but I just want to pick some, some of the spicier things, things that, other YouTubers haven't necessarily been focusing on, because I've noticed that people haven't read through all of this. Granted, it would take way too long, so I'm going to play, a montage for you all to sort of, gauge for yourself how at fault Garo is, how culpable they are for their own past actions and current behavior. Bare minimum, by the way, I have nothing to compare this to. I don't have the prior communications that the other person. It's a little bit suspicious that the other person didn't capture what they said to Garo to sort of initiate this, but it's regardless of what the other person said, Garo's response doesn't really shine a good light on them, to say the least. Bare minimum, you can't be in my server anymore. That is where I am most vulnerable, and you are extremely dangerous. I've never seen someone who could build such an incredibly strong attachment with my mods through DMs only, and completely behind my back too. Floofy of all people, you turned him. My mind was blown. Just inviting him to that server is cause enough for a ban, but the fact that you built such a strong attachment with him that he wrestled with me in that biased way for 2 nights? Not only do I want you out of my server, I want you severing ties with him completely, on all platforms, and I've already told him to do the same for you. I won't risk such an incredibly powerful connection like this remaining or any others forming. It's clear I'll have to be more aggressive towards certain personality types and perhaps tighten my rules even further than they already are to further reduce the risk of this sort of thing happening in the future. You know Floofy didn't start out that way. He was a huge stressor for me, but I worked with him for days because my gut told me that he meant well, even if he kept screwing up. Eventually, he improved so much and demonstrated that improvement repeatedly that I ended up modding him. But that was after many nights of effort and stress. I don't take full credit. He worked hard for that too, but I worked hard to keep him and drive him and train him in that direction. And then to teach him over time how to behave in my server and direct server focus and attention towards me as I do with my other mods. To preserve the general atmosphere in that way so it's nigh impossible for others to gain dangerous amounts of influence, which is why you were only able to achieve this in DMs. And apparently, I'll have to learn from this and be more watchful because I'd be a fool not to. You wanted to have a strong attachment to him. You wanted that, what he gave me, for yourself. Even going so far as to add him to your own emote server. And Lord knows, that might have even escalated in the future. Say whatever you want to oppose that, but it doesn't matter. I wouldn't trust you or anyone. I don't let anyone gain that level of attachment or influence to my community members. Nobody can be trusted with that power. The attachment was so strong that I spent 2 long nights talking with him to break things down point by point to open his eyes to how dangerous this was. Watching him turn was like watching God bleed, and it all happened behind my back. That made you look extremely dangerous. Not just me, my whole community. If you really do care about what you've done and sincerely feel sorry, then back off from my community. Cutting yourself from me and my content but still maintaining these strong connections with individuals you've met through me is extremely insulting. Wow, this guy is such a fucking prick. He really thinks that he's hot shit in a bag of chips and that he deserves all of the acclaim, all the attention, and all of the recognition. And that anybody, even just formulating a natural-born friendship, is grounds for termination. But that's par for the course. I mean, at this point, I've already seen enough material that everything that I said about Garo, I stand behind 110%. Anyway, this is supposedly, allegedly, a response to those screen caps hitting the light of day. So I'm going to read this and then move on to the Patreon because this video is getting really long, so let's keep things moving. Hey, I feel like it's time for me to come out forward with it. Pardon me, let me start over. Hey, I feel like it's time for me to come forward about this. I'm actually the person he's addressing in these screenshots. Let me offer some context so you guys can understand why he flipped out on me, which is still not justified. I first met Garo over 2 years ago. He banned me from his server around 1.5 years ago. So what happened? Him and I were friends. We talked almost daily. He said he loved me, etc., etc. I was a pretty exploitable person back then, and perhaps I was just a little bit too trusting. I just figured he was a little protective of his community and whatnot because he had been burned in the past, and that's alright. He was strict, but not absolutely ridiculous like you see in the rules of his Discord now. You could actually talk to people back then before I came around. In fact, from my understanding, I was the reason that he added rules against DMing moderators and server members in general. He started getting stricter over my stay in his community. He made it so that you couldn't post any artwork in his server unless it featured him. I was starting to get frustrated with his rules. I thought that there was no justification for such strictness. I began to talk to 2 of his moderators, who are also my friends and still are, about his behavior, expressing my frustration. One of these people, the moderator in question in these screenshots, leaked it to Garo that I was essentially venting about him. Oh, and I added this moderator to an emote server of mine where nobody talks. Guess what? He had a rule to not add any server members to his own servers, so I got banned. And Garo ranted at me. Not a lot. Not only that, he also attempted to force these 2 moderators to stop talking to me. One of them listened. The other just kind of did his own thing and we still talked. I'm still friends with both of them now. After a time, the one who blocked me finally got disillusioned and fed up with Garo's behavior. Bottom line, being a strict and controlling narcissist gets you nowhere. I hope Garo receives a big wake-up call from all this negative publicity and tries to at least change his ways. You can still be a good person, Garo. You could still be my friend even. Just look at yourself and try to understand where you went horribly wrong. So this seems eerily tailor-made for this, but if it's authentic, then I have no reason to judge it. But these are authentic Discord screenshots, you know, personal conversations with Garo, or, you know, items of note from his Discord, so the server itself. But yeah, it's worth noting. So what I noticed is that this swirly Samson guy, he's obviously got a best boy avatar that's been modified. If you look closely, it's got swirly eyes, but he's been poking fun at Garo for a little while now. I guess he really doesn't really like the idea of Garo being this, you know, gallivanting and being the center of attention, acting like he's hot shit in a bag of chips when he's really just cold diarrhea in a champagne glass. Dixie cup. I got the saying wrong, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and move on to his Patreon, and then we're going to move from there. Oh, wait. There is one more message that I wanted to mention because I saw something in this message, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. First off, server rules apply in all of these cases. Do not friend request or target other Wigglies. What the fuck is a Wiggly? Is that like child boy band where it's like the Wiggles? Is that a reference to that? Of fucking course, we're playing together and there will be conversations, cooperation, but keep it to a minimum towards other Wigglies. Also, friend requesting or playing other games like VR Chat, Among Us, etc. together when I'm not hosting it are not allowed. Of fucking course, my Minecraft and Terraria servers are perfectly fine to game with each other on 24/7. Made a little correction there. Just don't organize group activities without me, even if it's just with one other Wiggly. Again, what the fuck is a Wiggly? Focus on individual grinding and save new major events bosses for the Twitch streams. And as always, Keep the focus on myself and my content. Also, as mentioned in server rule number 1 and in my Patreon disclaimer, active streamers, YouTubers cannot claim these rewards or even be in my server. If at any point you start streaming or making YouTube videos, you will lose your rewards and you will be removed from my server. If you witness someone violating this, let me know here. So he pretty much wants to be Big Brother, and the entire focus of the entire world, his entire world, this Discord, is going to be leveled on him. And, like, his rules about non-association with other quote-unquote wigglies, which I assume are other members of his Discord, it reminded me of a very particular thing, something from VG Cats that I've seen a while back. It reminds me exactly of this. Rules. Blindfolds are mandatory. No talking or no fun. And it's like, I said no talking. Like, it reminds me strictly of this, you know? Like, when I first saw those rules, and I saw everything playing out like it did, I just couldn't help but feel like, yo, bro, this guy has, like, a big fucking head, a head size that's even bigger than that of the world, and really thinks they're worth all of that focus, attention, and regard from other people to him. And anything less is inexcusable, to the point that he's willing to kick people out of his Discord. And you already saw, like, these communications right here. That shows me that he's a deeply insecure, petty, and pathetic man. Or man-child, I should say. Also, real quick, before I forget, it's important to note how his interactions with others really goes above and beyond what your comfortable boundaries would be. There are no boundaries with this guy, by the way. He is going to say whatever's on his mind and get very intrusive into your space, as it were, even though it's online and people just kind of nut up and shut up about it because, you know, this guy, he used to be, at least by his own claim, allegedly, was a moderator for Garo's stream, and he includes some interactions that he had, you know, or some messages that he could glean from the Discord server. I used to be a moderator for Garo's stream in his server a couple years ago, but stepped down when I started uni. He was better back then, but you could see his ego fueling his actions. It's a shame things turned out this way, because he was a good friend. So, there was a change in Garo's life. And obviously, like, not to make this video excessively long, but I would just like to say, getting backstabbed by somebody that you trusted, that you had a preconceived notion of being friends with, it sucks. But in Garo's case, I'm wondering, like, a recurrent question sort of hangs in my mind. Who hurt you? Like, and you'll see what I mean in a second here. Because I've noticed the usual trend of me bringing something up in mod chat is that I'll bring up an issue based on shady behavior I've been perceiving over a matter of time as I notice certain trends, and most people will be surprised and have no idea what I'm talking about when these things are so painfully obvious to me. Usually others don't notice them either because they're not around enough or because they're not perceptive enough or too naive. Either way, the arguing and explaining to get my point across is really not worth my time, and I'm confident enough in my decisions to where I can make them without having to feel that my team all approves. How very self-serving of you. Plus, I've been through enough backstabbing scenarios that frankly, I just don't want to take any more risks by delegating on matters like this anymore. This was actually a decision I made over a month ago, and was seriously considering removing almost all mods once I stopped the shoutouts, but then I got a new idea. In addition to all the Twitch stuff, I handle all the moderation, aside from the super obvious stuff I guess. With shoutouts cut, I just count on my mods to push my own branding, and I put my rules in place to direct my mods so they cannot hurt me. Because frankly, I don't need mods, so if I'm going to have them, I'm going to be strict about it. My mods are meant to set good examples for viewers and to help grow my influence and brand. That's it. And then this is in 2019. Done. Oh wait, your point regarding delegating moderation to my mods. Here's the thing, I don't know anyone, and I don't just mean my mod team, I mean anyone whatsoever, who can see what I see as quickly as I see it and has my best interest at heart. I'm constantly active in my own server, and I'm extremely perceptive, and I can pick up on behavioral patterns based on my experience with other troublemakers. I mean, my mods are already welcome to chime in when something obviously bad happens, but I really don't think anyone could have caught up on this guy, or many other guys I've dealt with, like Floofy for that matter, as quickly as I did. And quickness is so incredibly important here. The sooner I identify someone as a troublemaker and remove them, the less danger they can pose. They aren't given time to build attachments and connections, and therefore drama can't happen. If there's anything I've learned from past troublemakers, it's to get rid of the dangerous ones fast. Letting connections grow over time is always going to work against me. The only person I know who was perceptive enough to see what I saw was Floofy. Yet that manipulative asshole had its own agenda. I'm perfectly fine handling the more sinister people myself, but if someone I can trust were to develop the activity, intelligence, perceptiveness, and experience to handle what I handle, surely that'll be a threat to me. I inferred, because that's all she wrote. I'm sure that there was more communications here, but I didn't catch that. So it's striking to me that Garo is so threatened by the idea that other people are going to be able to be independent thinkers and formulate their own opinions, perspective, and reactions to whatever happens, that they just have to step in and force everything with an iron fist, or an iron claw if you prefer, and just like make sure that everything goes his way. And you can't do that unless you have something to back that up. You know, like, I'm talking about if Garo, heavens fucking forbid, became Thanos tomorrow. Yeah, ooh, that would be a horrible thing. But yeah, I think it's important to note that he's not just like this with his fans. He's with his moderators. As moderators, you want to be nice to your moderators, because if you're like the king and your moderators are your vassals and knights, you want them on your side to get shit done. Okay, ideally you want everybody on your side, but obviously not everyone's going to play ball and be nice and cordial about things. Some people are going to be assholes, so you handle those people as you will, but you run the risk of everything that you do is going to be put on the microscope, and you just kind of have to take that as a risk. You can't artificially, screen people and formulate your own idyllic world like this and not have it noticed by other people that are going to think what you're doing is kind of creepy. But anyway, I think I've yacked about all this, far enough. Let's go move on to his Patreon, shall we? Alright, just as a slight detour, we're going to be looking at GaroShadowscale's Patreon. So, seems like a pretty standard Patreon. You got your little banner here showcasing all the various expressions of GaroShadowscale, but then you scroll down here. You have 3 selections: paw, butt, love. And I think it goes on, yep, okay. So, these are the 2 that captured the most interest from people, but there is paw, butt, and love. And then it's like, thank yous for support, no rewards for this tipping tier. So you can give him $5 just out of show appreciation, which for tipping, I would say anywhere from a couple of cents to a couple of dollars would be standard. He seems to think of himself as a little bit above the others, though. You got butt, thank yous, in addition to previous benefits. What benefits? Besides the Discord one. You are guaranteed a slot in my Minecraft and Terraria servers. DM me your Minecraft username so that I can whitelist you. You have priority access to VRChat and Jackbox and Among Us with me. DM me your VRChat username in Discord so I can add you as a friend. You have early access to my YouTube videos here on Patreon, and they're ad-free. Your name will also be added to patron credits at the end of future vids on my main YouTube channel. Includes Discord benefits. Guaranteed slot in my Minecraft server, guaranteed slot in my Terraria server, priority access to a VR chat with me. That's going to fill up pretty fast, so unless you have 25 people running around, all paying you $25 just for the privilege of hanging out with you. Well, I mean, I don't know. Priority access to Jackbox with me, priority access to Among Us with me, Steam friend request. Yep, that's very valuable. Early access to my YouTube videos, not so valuable. Ad-free YouTube videos, fairly valuable. Credited at the end of YouTube videos. I don't know, that's just a name on a fucking YouTube video. But patron role in Discord, tipping. That seems more like an insult to me. It's like, you're a fucking butt. Love. That's not how you get love, okay? If you have to pay for it, that's not love. Thank yous! In addition to previous benefits, you can join me in BR chat every day in my Twitch streams for hugs and pictures together after I finish announcements. DM me your VR chat username in Discord so I can add you as a friend. You are guaranteed a slot for playing with me in every VR chat multiplayer stream, Jackbox party Pack stream and every Among Us private lobby stream. You can also get 15% discount on all my merch. You also can request an extra song during every Beat Saber stream, because that's worth a lot. Includes Discord benefits, VR chat selfies with me, daily in-game VR chat hug after stream start. Are hugs really that valuable? I mean, like, people want hugs. They want attention. They want, you know, some form of affection from others. But, like, it's really? Come on, man. Guaranteed VR chat slot with me. Guaranteed Jackbox slot with me. Guaranteed Among Us slot with me. 15% discount on merch, extra Beat Saber song requests, guaranteed slot in my Minecraft server, guaranteed slot in my Terraria server, Steam friend request. Again, very valuable. Early access to my YouTube videos, not as valuable. Ad-free YouTube videos, fairly valuable. Credited at end of YouTube videos, not that valuable to me. Love patron role in Discord. Now, I will say that love versus butt, love is going to win out. Like, you want the love, okay? You want the love roll. You don't want the butt roll. The butt roll seems like it'd be more reserved for something like, you know, $5 D tier. Tipping. Okay, now we're getting to the spicy stuff. Awoo and gasm. Yep, certainly looks like he's having a gasm. Thank you so much. In addition to previous benefits, you can DM me in Discord every day. Look at that, for $250 a month. Just $250 a month. You can, for like, you know, whatever topic of interest or discussion, you can just reach out to GaroShadowscale and, you know, just start a conversation, you know, popping in, you know, let's see. You can DM me in Discord every fucking day. It can be a statement, question, or RP message. And I guarantee a daily response. Heart. You are guaranteed a 20-minute private voice call with me. Okay. I mean, unless this guy's got a voice like liquid butter, I don't think that's going to be too valuable. 20-minute private voice chat. A Discord DM every day. VR chat selfies with me. Daily in-game VR chat hug after stream start. Bitch, I get those for free. Guaranteed VR chat slot with me. Guaranteed Jackbox slot with me. Guaranteed Among Us slot with me. 15% discount on merch. Extra Beat Saber song request. Guaranteed slot in my Minecraft server. Guaranteed slot in my Terraria server. Steam friend request. Early access to my YouTube videos. Add free YouTube videos credited at the end of YouTube videos. A woo patron role in Discord. Tipping. Because a woo is very important to the furries, I have to say. Even though it's an overdone meme. Gasm. Thank you so much. In addition to previous benefits, you are guaranteed a 20-minute private VR chat session with me. There's not a whole lot to be done in 20 minutes. So if that's like, you can now DM me twice in Discord every day. It can be statements, questions, or RP messages. And I guarantee 2 daily responses. Imagine that, like, those responses would be like a one-word response. I'd feel a little cheated for $500 fucking dollars. 20-minute private VR chat session, 20-minute private voice chat, 2 Discord DMs every day, VR chat selfies with me, daily in-game VR chat hug after stream start, guaranteed VR chat slot with me, guaranteed Jackbox slot with me, guaranteed Among Us slot with me, 15% merch discount on merch, extra Beat Saber song request, guaranteed slot in my Minecraft server, guaranteed slot in my Terraria server, Steam request on friends, Steam friend request, early access to my YouTube videos, ad-free YouTube videos credited at the end of YouTube videos, gasm patron role in Discord, tipping. So yeah, just even a cursory glance at this is pretty egregious. Like, these benefits. This isn't how friends work, people. Like, I don't know what kind of a sheltered household GaroShadowscale lived in, but this is not how friendship works, okay? People hang out with other people because they want to. Now, obviously, he sees an opportunity here because he sees a lot of desperate, vulnerable people that need somebody that's, quote-unquote, desperately going to be there with them, and he's going to fill that role. The problem is, it's going to cost you money. You gotta pay $5, $25, $100, $250, or $500 for this man's time. Have we become so low as a fandom, let alone society at large? Is this where we're at today? Like, is this how it's gonna go from now on? Because that's pretty depressing if that's the case. But anyway, I digress. Let's move along. I'm sure you could already imagine how furry Twitter reacted to all of this. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that a relative nobody on the World Wide Web would actually have the audacity to step forward and say, I'm a Popufur, you want my time, you want my attention, pay me money. And they, obviously the most glaring offenses here was the notion that people would have to pay them increasingly higher Patreon tiers in order to have, 20 minutes of their time. 20 minutes on VR chat is nothing. That is virtually nothing. I would consider a good night a couple hours of hanging out with friends. Hell, maybe even an hour or two, maybe several hours. It really depends on the friend who I, respect and cherish and admire as a friend. Sometimes it's an all-night thing if the friend's close enough to me, but I wouldn't fucking charge them money for it. I have self-respect for myself. I have a sense of place here on the face of the world. I have my own sense of self-importance. Not trying to say I'm narcissistic or anything like that, but know your worth, know your limitations, and know where you stand as far as your friends go. And, you'll be a whole lot better for it. What I'm getting out of Garo is that they have basically built, perhaps artificially or organically, I really don't know. It's really a question of their motivations when they first started making videos on YouTube and their Twitch stream and the Discord. But, people have said, one of their former moderators for the channel had said, or I should say the Discord, that Garo used to be a pretty true blue friend, and they were a lot better back then, but something happened along the way that turned them into a money-grubbing asshole, and they just couldn't take it anymore. They wrote a teary-eyed message, and they said, hey, bud, it's been real, but I'm out. And Garo obviously didn't respond too well to that. Granted, they don't respond too well to any form of dissent, and the fact that somebody that they considered a close friend would have the audacity to just walk out on them like that was absolutely inexcusable. How dare you walk away from me? Do you know who I am? I'm Garo. I am the Popufur here. And obviously, that didn't really weigh too well on the psyches of anybody else that happened to be watching, because the guy did share the communications, and even just getting a glimpse, a little bit of a glimpse, a window into that server, because I'm certainly not going to be paying, $5 to join the server. I'm not going to be paying $250 to get a chance to talk to Garo. I'd be very interested to see how their actual mode of character happens to be. Are they going to actually act like they're hot shit? Are they going to act like they're hot shit in a champagne glass when they're actually cold diarrhea in a Dixie cup? Or, are they actually going to be humble and polite about it? Because you gotta understand, I'm sure you've already looked at the, the rules of their Discord, which they violate consistently, but I guess that's, that's a perk of being on top of things. I'm the Popufur here, not you, me. That they get to break the rules, and the number one rule is, you're supposed to be humble, be polite, be respectful. They're respectful selectively when they just want to bap somebody on the nose and remind them that what they did was not correct, didn't follow his terms of service, if you want to call it that. But at the same time, the fact that he's willing to ban people with such a hair trigger velocity reminded me of Darkside Phil. Darkside Phil, any form of dissent, any criticism, you're out. You're a hater. You're a troll. You're a bigot. No, he didn't really say bigot, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like that. So Raro, their persona is okay. It's nothing that really endears me to them. I think dragons are all right, but it's it's nothing special. It's nothing truly unique. It's not like when Primogens became a thing, a closed race, and everybody was itching to get one. It doesn't strike me as that. You know what I mean? It just begs the question who his fan base are. And I can only assume that his fan base are a bunch of kids that don't know any better. Or maybe they're mentally stunted. They decide to live the life of a man-child instead of growing up and moving out and being a productive member of society. I don't know their demographics. What I do know is that they're showcasing the fact that they're willing to tolerate this kind of abuse, because it is kind of abusive, the heavy-handed approach to his own fans. Your fans are the people that you want to be the nicest to. Like, even if they're being a little bit difficult sometimes, there is a difference between being difficult and being completely unreasonable, you know? And it's like, no thinking. No, like, I'll do all the thinking for you. No extracurricular activities. I will provide those to you. There's only one Garo. So, like, the fact that he's going to ensure, like, promise, this is an absolute promise, you are assured a spot on my VR chat gaming, or, like, you know, Among Us or Minecraft, like, that's a lot of liability there. I guess it makes sense, because given how expensive it is, that's going to limit how many people can actually join up and be a part of that. But come on, dude. Like, there's going to come a point where you're going to have, if you're really that good, you're going to have a point where you're going to have too many fans to deal with. And, like, you're setting yourself up for failure, because you're not going to promise everybody when they want to game. It's going to be on your terms. And the person that's contributing the money to you, they're going to have to make the decision if you're worth, like, you know, the wait, or if you maybe breach your own, like, contract with them. Now, it's obviously, like, sort of an implied, inferred, like, oral contract, or written, like, not really a written signed contract, but, you know, you're promising people something that you may or may not be able to deliver upon on their terms. So, I don't know. It just really, all this showcases to me is the increasing benchmarks of narcissism, egotism, and selfishness here in the furry fandom. And you gotta bear in mind, like, I've met a lot of furries. Some good, some not so good. Some better than others, some that were absolutely deplorable. And I make selections based on a variety of character traits that they happen to showcase on whether they're worth my time or not. I don't expect rewards insofar as monetary gain or things like that. You hang out with people because you want to. Now, if you want to interact with your fans, you know, in that sort of way, that's a you thing. The thing is, you can easily distinguish between a friend and a fan, because the friend, you've been with them for some amount of time. You have a sense of, like, place with them. You know them. You understand them. You like them, they like you, and you have a mutual desire to spend time with each other. What Garo was saying was, like, that's not friendship. That's you basically demanding other people pay you for you to treat them like a slave, which is just... I mean, some people are into that, believe it or not. Like, here in the furry fandom, some people are into that, but... Like, most of those people can probably get that for free. Like, the person that's doing the enslaving, they're the ones that are benefiting off of the slave, you know? So that's, like, sort of that's a consensual thing. That's not, like, money doesn't really have a place in that. But yeah, not in Garo's case, because, you know, in Garo's case, you know, it's not worth his time. His time has to be compensated because it's so valuable and precious. But yeah, the call to personality rings true. The fact that they basically have egg on their face now from the furry fandom noticing their activities. I'm very curious to see how their fans are going to react to that, and how Garo's reacting in his own server to that, because if he takes it well, like with a more dignified approach, I could see him bouncing back and continuing his activities for a short period of time until people point out his bad behavior, his antics, and his bullshit, and they start to drift away. Because, remember how I mentioned Ashypaws earlier? Well, there would occasionally be people that I considered to be, you know, refugees of Ashypaws' server, because Ashypaws had somehow managed to convince a series of 16, 17, and 18-year-old kids that he was hot shit and that he was worthwhile, and that he was pretty much the only friend that they really needed to know. And they would come out with horror stories, and, like, I wouldn't even have to mention Ashypaws. For a long time there, I forgot Ashypaws even existed, but, like, occasionally I get subtle reminders. And they would mention horror stories about interactions that they had in, you know, Ashypaws' server, and just things that they were subjected to like harsh communications, how autocratic and micromanagerial Ashipaz would be. And Garo rings true to that. He's exactly the same way. That everything has to be under his control at all times. Any form of dissent, departure from the norm, is going to be grounds for you getting banned or thrown out or penalized in some way. And these are people that you're conflating fans with friends. That's not friendship. That's basically like slavery. They only want like something out of you. That you just getting a chance to hang out with them, spend time with them, enjoy each other's company, that's second. First, it's money. You better fucking, have deep pockets if you want to be friends with me, boyo. Anyway, I guess at the end of the day, has he done anything particularly egregious? I suppose not. It's a very scammy sort of setup that he's got, looking at his Patreon and like his mode of character, how he interacts with other people. It's very scammy. I don't see a whole lot there as far as being able to connect with him as a friend, being able to really mesh with them, being able to spend time with them adequately. I see it as like they're very shallow and very superficial and artificial in their interactions with others. But who knows? Maybe like one of you guys are his number one fan. You have made the $500 contribution for several months now. You have managed to, advance yourself through the upper echelons of the power structure in that Discord. You're his number one fan. You always get that 20-minute slot every day. You get to spend time with him, talk to him on Discord. You get to get a sense of who the real Garo is. And for that, I have to say, it's a massive waste of money. What the fuck are you doing? You could have contributed that like thousands of dollars to something better, your own education or a gaming PC that would enable you to create content yourself, to ascend and be better than Garo, who is trying to keep you under his thumb. And it's just, I find it truly unfortunate that somebody has the need and willingness to try to control others like that. I don't mind the idea of being influential to others. I would hope that spending time with me would be enriching, for both parties, that we could get a sense of common ground, that we can discuss deep, fairly complicated topics of interest, or hell, just have a good time. But I've never understood why there always has to be this constant need for control. Now, granted, before I make this video any longer than it needs to be, control is all around us, There's laws in place, there's, sort of systems of laws out there to keep society functioning and stable. But we're talking about something far different than, the conduct of other people in a society. We're talking about friendship. Friendship should be about a mutual desire for people to spend time with each other. It should be about, I have just as much desire to spend some time with you as you have for me. We don't need to constantly have this, tally mark where I help you, you help me. That should come organically, free of any implications of, hey, you owe me. My time is precious. I'm wasting a lot of it for you. There shouldn't be any of that. It should be that we just happen to have enough time together to take out of our busy schedules and meet up at a place, or hell, even have a conversation over the phone. Just get a sense to connect, talk about what's going on in life, our particular interests, and leave it at that. And if favors come about along the way, because I have to say, friends have done a lot for me. And I tried to be there for them, to at least be a shoulder to cry on, to at least talk to them, to do favors for when I have the ability to do so. But there's no connotations or promise of money or financial gain from that. It's of a willingness for you to do for your friend as you would hope that your friend would do for you. I hope that Garo has genuine friends around them, but it seems like all he sees in friends is a money-making opportunity on his Patreon, on his coffee, on whatever he has other than Patreon for you to contribute to. PayPal, I would assume. But anyway, all that to be said, If you want to support him, if you think that he brings value to your life in the form of his videos, his interactions with you, various other things, I can't really fault you, all right? We all need somebody to look up to, somebody that's a hip, happening, cool guy that really knows his stuff and is willing to share his life, his experiences, and his presence with you. Okay. It's your money. You spend it the way that you want to. But what I'm trying to say here is that probably not the best investment, and that the idea of having to pay for friendship is absolutely egregious and horrid and abhorrent, and you could probably spend that money on far better things like your education, things that you actually want to buy, instead of just the promise of somebody's time who may or may not actually want to spend that time with you. Anyway, I think I've rattled on and on about this for long enough, so how about we just go ahead and end the video here? If I hear any further developments, I'll be sure to share it with you all. But till next time, guys, take care and peace. I hope you have a better one. Hey fellas, thanks for watching the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Would you care to hit that like button and subscribe for more? I greatly appreciate it.